Hey everybody, welcome back for another video. So in this video, we're going to do things a little bit different. I'm going to start analyzing swings and kind of walking you guys through the processes and the progresses we've been doing up to this point. So if you guys like that, let me know. If you guys don't like that, let me know. But if you guys do like it, I'm going to continue to make these videos with different clients. So I'm going to start this first one with Matt. A lot of you guys know Matt from my channel, from TXG channels. We all know he hits it really, really good. So we're going to talk about, like what the direction was when we first met and what we're trying to go towards now. It's been a little bit over a year. We started May 18th, 2018. Today is August 4th, 2019. So it's been a very exciting and very rewarding year so far together with a lot of good progresses. So I've kind of clipped together, videos from 12 different sessions throughout this last year. We've met more than once a month. I'm just kind of taking some key videos and key sessions we've had together. So I'm gonna organize this on the left as kind of the before, the right as the after. I'm gonna just keep kind of progressing it in chronological order from left to right. So in this first video on the left, that's his first swing. As you can see, a little hingy for my liking. Actually, I'm gonna try to put the face on as well on the rights before I move forward with talking about the first changes we did. So you can see with him, he is, if you guys have looked at my Instagrams or YouTubes, you guys have followed me for a while, you guys know I prefer people to be wide, get depth. And with Matt, when we first started, he was the opposite, where he was very left. He had no depth, because you can see his arms here, or his hands are just on top of his shoulders, which I generally don't like. I like it kind of behind his shoulders, more on this line, just to get a little bit deeper. Again, it doesn't have to be that deep. I just like the hands being more behind the shoulders. And he's very hingy. So when I say very hingy, you see his club is way past parallel. I generally like seeing some of the club, especially with an iron at the top of the backswing. So from the face-on view, you can really see the hinge here, because at the top of his backswing, you can see this angle is very, very sharp here, okay? I generally like a 90-degree angle between the club and the arm. So here to, whoops, let me just redo this. Give me one sec. So between the club, whoops, sorry, this is my using this app for the first time, bear with me. So there, I see, that's how you use it. Let me try this again. So from his arm to his club, you see this very sharp angle, 60 degrees or so. I generally prefer people to be roughly closer to 90 at the top. So you can very hingy from here. Especially for a swing this long, he doesn't have much turn, because you can barely see the back of his shoulders. Right here, you can barely see the back of his left shoulder. As a lefty, generally I want to be able to see the back of their back shoulder quite clearly. So because of how narrow he is at the top, you can see on the swing on the left, his hands work towards the ball. So his hands work in that direction. Maybe not upwards, but kind of works down and forwards towards the ball. And the shaft is very, very steep. It's honestly, for my preferences, again, it's not non-negotiable, but this is way too steep for my liking. I like people tend to be shallower at that point. So because he's so steep and his arms are so out, he has no choice but to then kind of tilt back to get the club to be somewhat shallow. So you can see he has minimal rotation and impact. You don't see much of his right butt cheek, much of his back right leg, much of his back at all, because he's not rotated. He's very square to the ball. And as you can see here on the face-on view, he kind of lunges towards the target, and he stops rotating and tries to tilt back to try to just save it a little bit. So that's how he kind of hits, hits functional shots, because if he were to rotate properly, he would be so steep and so over the top, the ball would not be anywhere playable. But in the swing here, even when we play golf, his driver would get very, very wild, just because it's when you're that steep, starting with a driver, starting a downswing like that is very, very difficult to hit a high bombing consistent ball flight. So that's the overview of what we started with. So as we move forward to the swings, the first thing we did, I'm going to move it on the left now. So this is the first swing we did with the changes I want him to do, and this is the face-on view on the right. So with his, just move it a little bit. So with a swing on the left now, what I want him to do is feel no hinge because he hinges so much. I'm having him feel zero hinge. And you can see zero hinge is not literally zero hinge. You can see a little bit of club now at the top, which is nice to see. So just a little bit of club there, much better than no club or club on the other side. So that's definitely a good change to start on the face-on view. You guys can see him feeling no hinge actually helps him hinge the right amount. So now at the top, he kind of has what I like where it's roughly 90 degrees-ish at the top of the backswing. So I love that. It's a great start. His face control became a lot more, a lot better actually when he started playing golf that later that week. So it was nice to see. I'm just going to show you a driver video quickly on how he tried to implement that. So driver, this is him trying to implement it in the driver. No hinge. And I'm also trying to get him to turn a little bit more as well here. Try to get a little bit deeper. So you guys can see that's actually a very healthy turn at the top. And driver, I'm okay with driver getting a little bit past 90 just as the club is longer, but you can see here much more turn than before. So I love that. I think I might have skipped over a video accidentally where we implement this. Yep, there it there it is. So this is the video. I think this is the video of me asking him to get deeper as well. So deeper, getting his hands more behind his shoulders. So I'm just asking him, you can see, to get deeper. Now his hands are a little more back of his shoulders. Remember how when we first started, his hands are just right on top. So now it's a little bit further back. And then as a result, on the face-on video, it gets deeper. You can see a little bit more turn now, which is nice to see. So that's kind of what we did in lesson 1. So as we move forward, it was kind of a, I had a feel for how Matt implements changes, how fast he does things. But overall, he was actually doing things really, really nicely. So this is the third video, I guess one of the second lessons. Let me see when I had that. So this video on the left here that I just uploaded with the white shirt, that was he's wearing pants. Let me just see. I'm just pulling through my records here because I tried to space these out a little bit just to show you some bigger changes. Bear with me for a second. But you guys can see here that right now when he's swinging in this video, that is June 20th. So on June 20th, what I had him do is try to put a glove under his left armpit so that his arms and hands don't lift so much in the swing. Because you guys can see when we first started in the first video, let me actually put this on the right video so it's a better comparison. I'm going to put the starting video, lesson 1, back on the left. So you can see lesson 1 at the top of his backswing. That is not lesson 1. That's actually a very good swing that we're going to get to eventually. So lesson 1, you see how his left armpit is very high. His left forearm is higher than 90. So you can see what I mean by that is his left forearm there compared to the ground is way higher than parallel to the ground. Too much arm lift there in my opinion for my preference. So on the left, what I had him try to do is put a glove under his left armpit, or at least feel like he has a glove under his left armpit. This is him trying to feel the same thing afterwards. And it's a little lower, and that's going to be a work in progress moving forward. But he's done a really, really good job of, 1, getting deeper in the swing. You can see his hands are behind his shoulders again. And 2, he's continuing to reduce the amount of wrist hinge, so we can see a little bit more club now even. So that's all good, and that's all good to me. And then we're trying to help him not get his hands moving outwards towards the ball in transition. So you can see his hands actually stay back a little bit longer now in transition, which is nice to see. Not as out as you can see lesson 1, where his hands came out towards the ball in transition quite a bit. So quite a bit different. So moving forward, let's go to the next video. So the next video I have for you guys on the left, where he's wearing red, is August 8th. Let's see how it looks. And you can see here, he's wearing a glove here now. So you can see now at the top, because he's wearing a glove under his left armpit, his glove is falling at the top a little bit now because his arm did get a little bit high, but at least now his left forearm is much closer to parallel than before. Ideally, I kind of like it, I don't really have a preferred spot. I just don't like it higher than parallel to the ground. It's just a little bit too much arm lift for me. Even this is a little bit too much arm lift, but it's a lot better than before. So we're really trying to feel him with the armpit, and then trying to feel like his hands stay back more. Still comes out a little bit, but I'm okay with that. So as you continue to move forward, I actually have a swing video from the course, which is actually like the best I've seen him on the course. This is August 22nd. So the hole on the left is number 12 at Cedarburg. He hit a good drive, so short approach shot. I honestly love the pace here. He hit it good here. So love the pace. Super, super wide. Super deep, super wide, minimal hinge. I love that. And honestly, this is probably one of, And this is probably the start of him playing like some pretty good golf, very predictable with his driver off the tee. So super deep, super wide. I love that. And as a result, he comes in much shallower than before. Remember how swing 1, he was coming in very, very steep. So I love all of that. He's starting to rotate a little bit more through the ball. It's not a big piece for us yet, but it was nice to see him translate things onto the course relatively quickly. On the left here on the right here is actually the next hole, hole 13, par 5, and he actually hit a really good one here as well. And I love seeing that even with the driver, he wasn't too narrow and he didn't get too hingy. So drivers are always going to hinge more than the iron, just because his club is longer. But still love seeing club here. Hands are still back of the shoulders, nice and deep, nice and wide. And just as another side thing, you see how the angle between his right forearm and his right bicep is relatively wide there. If he folded his left arm too much, which he did before, his left arm would be more pointing this way as opposed to roughly 90 degrees to the ground. So just another reference for things I look at. So moving forward, let's see what else we got here. This is when we started trying to help him load the pressure a little bit better in the backswing. So let's see what happens here. So, so for here, I'm trying to have him load his left as much as possible, because before, I'm going to shift this video over to the right screen. So before, when we first started, you can see Matt's, when he turns, he kind of shifts left to start, but then he starts pushing his hips towards the target. You see that? So if I were to put 2 lines side by side around his hips, you can see he kind of pushes outside the line and he pushes towards the screen again, which I definitely don't want happening in the backswing. So you see very tilty here, which is not what I want at the top of the backswing, especially for a high speed guy like Matt. And then on the right here now, I know it's a little bit dark, but you can see as even though he's still shifting left a little bit, at least he's staying there. and not pushing his hips so much into the target anymore. So eventually, I'm going to have him try to turn less with his hips, just because he tends to overturn his lower body from his starting swing. But again, good to see he has a lot more torso turn now in the backswing, so it's really, really good. And as a result, because he's loaded the left so much, his swing is actually getting a little faster, a little bit more athletic, which is nice to see there. Sounded really good. I'm going to put the driver on the left here for you guys. Yeah, 136 ball, see with the 6-iron was pretty good. And then on the left here, I have his driver video. Pretty good, pretty athletic. Love that ball play. Very, very tight, not curving too much. What was that one? 353, 173.5 ball speed. Good. So it's definitely starting to climb. And again, the goal for us, in the off season was to try to get to 180 for that video. For this video right here, this was in. Let me see. Let me just pull up the date for you guys, so you guys have a better idea of the order of how we're doing it. This was, I believe, August 30th. So our goal was to get it to 180 ball speed for this 2019 season, but we actually got it pretty quickly, which we'll get to in a little bit. So moving forward to the next videos I have for you guys, this is September 9th. We're starting to add the legs into play. So a lot of you guys know, who follow my stuff, I like squatting and rotating. I love using the legs to start the downswing. So with him, with the video on the left here, I haven't asked him to do any leg work yet. I'm just having him prep it by having him loop his arms, hands, and club structure back more, just to pin it against his chest, just so he keeps it behind him, so that he doesn't have the urge to pull his hands out and down, which he likes doing, which will buy him more time to do stuff with his legs. So you can see here, his hands are at the top, and he loops it way back in transition. Again, it doesn't even really even look that loopy, but he's feeling a big loop, shallows out big time. His path was going to be very into it at this moment, but it wasn't going to stay, just because I know we're going to add the rotational piece very, very soon. And then on the left, on the right here, I'm having him feel like he squat and rotates 12 inches down as he loops. This is just a partial speed swing where he's going to try to loop and squat and rotate at the same time. And you can see him feeling 12 inches of squat and rotate, of squat downwards. It's just a little bit. And that's, again, as a feel and reel, you have to exaggerate the hell of the things to get things better. And then later in that session, after he had a feel for it, so I'm going to put it on the left. This is him trying to squat and rotate at full speed with the loop. And as a result, his speed started jumping up. I believe that one hit 103 miles an hour with a 6-iron, right on GC quad. So very, very promising stuff. I think we started at like 95 with a 6-iron when we first started. So the next lesson, I guess, or the next video I'm going to put for you guys, is where things start getting really, really fun. So, and the next lesson is when we actually started hitting 180 ball speed. So I'm going to put the iron on the left, the driver on the right. So in this video, November 24th, I have him letting him feel like his left leg straightens a little bit more. So actually, I'm just going to quickly put the iron on the right first. I can show you guys the starting swing when he first started. So you can see with Matt, when this is his first swing, May 18th, you can see he turns and he goes towards the target with the hips. Now you can see, loading the left, hips don't move nearly as much to the target anymore, which is nice to see. But you can see way more turn at the top, way more torso turn compared to when we first started, not so much. So big differences. He's way wider at the top here. And again, this is big exaggerations for now. and I know he's actually, his angles are actually like not at 90, he's actually less than 90, or I should say more than 90, whereas an old video is way less than 90, but I'm okay with it for now, for where we were. So you can see with him trying to squat and rotate at full speed, things are moving pretty good. His finish is looking a lot better. I'm going to move that video back to the left. And then his driver videos when things get really, really fun. So I'm going to put the face-on driver on the right, his down-the-line driver on the left. And both of these were actually 179s, but this lesson was the first time we ever broke 180, and we actually broke it up numerous times. So very, very powerful, very athletic. This is 179. I love that curvature. And the cool thing was when we were doing this, the ball flow was actually very, very tight. He wasn't curving the ball much at all, which was very, very nice to see. So it wasn't really going gorilla mode where it's just no consideration for where the ball is going to go. So both of these were 179, and then we actually had a couple of 180. This is one of the sample numbers that we had on GC Quad, 124.5, 180.5. Club path was 2.5 into out, hitting 4 degrees up, 13 launch. The ball was pretty good. So I like that. I like those deliveries quite a bit, where he's not too up and he's not too inside out. So it was really, really good day for the both of us. So then moving forward, he was actually swinging it really well. We went to Orlando for the PJ Golf Show. He was actually playing pretty well in Orlando. A couple of rounds under par, so that was good to see. So we just kind of let him continue to work on the same things. So it was more fine tuning from there on out. So the next video I have for you guys on the left there, when was that? Let me just look for it quickly. I think this was January 6th, where I'm starting to have him feel less hip turn. So you can see this is a rehearsal feeling no hip turn, and you can see he still hip turns quite a bit. But by him feeling no hip turn, it helps him reduce it, so that's easier for him to start turning the other way. Because when he hip turned quite a bit, he had a hard time hip turning the other way towards the target in the downswing. So I had him hip turn less. He still turns a ton in the backswing just to help the sequencing a little bit better in the downswing. So quickly, I'll show you guys that video. Still swinging it really good, and then you can see the finishes are looking different, where now he has a little bit more of a C look here. Whoops. I guess there's no squiggly line, but you can see more of a C look, or for righties that reverse C. He's a lefty, so he has a C look, but we get that C look not because we're arching the back, but because we're extending properly now. So you can see even in the previous videos, let me get that back. So in the previous video that I had, when he finishes, actually that wasn't too bad. Let me look for the old swings. So you see how in the old videos on the right here, when he finishes, minimal rotation, upper body rotates more than the lower body, no push, and his upper body is way more in front of the lower body, whereas now on the video on the left, he's starting to push and rotate much better. His legs are extending through the shot, and he is much more extended. Upper body is a little bit more back of the lower, just because he's actually pushing his hips forward and at the end of the movement. So if you think of a jumping movement, for example, if you were to jump, you're loading, you stand straight, you load down, you push down, and as you jump, your hands up, everything is extending. You're as tall as you can as you jump. Your hips are pushing forward. That's what we want. We want all that extension in the golf swing to help us release the power and release the speed. And because this is a very athletic motion, that's what we want. We want in the golf swing. We don't want the old swing where there was minimal extension. So as we continue, he's swinging it really good. We're starting to almost enter phase 2 of our evolution of the swing, where as he's playing now, the next video I'm going to show you on the left here, we're starting to clean things up. I kind of let him he had a period of time when during last season where he felt like the face was too close, so I let him feel like a little bit of a cup in his right wrist, but I think it's catching up to him now. So we both made a decision to firmly bring the right wrist flat back into play so that we can continue to work on the rotation and the downswing. We can continue to work on all that stuff to keep building on it long term. I think he played really good golf last year. This year, he's still playing good golf, but I think we decided to really move forward with making the swing a little bit more bulletproof. So when was the swing actually? Let me see if I can find it. This was so give me 1 second. I just have these all written down in my iPad. So this was May 12th, where we try to get him to rotate a little bit more. Move this over. This is just partial speed, but it was actually quite a good swing. So you guys can see good backswing, minimal hinge, not much lift. Right wrist is actually kind of flat there. And then as he comes down, shaft is shallowing out quite a bit, helping him rotate quite a bit. This is like, if you compare that to the first swing at impact, you guys can see at impact, well, not even close. So first transition looks way different. Way shallower on the left there. And then coming into impact, he's rotated way more because he's so shallow, or shallower. So you can see way more back shoulders, back, right butt cheek, back right leg. Here you have no shoulders, no right butt cheek, no back of the right leg. So this is actually, we both agree it was a really good swing, but we didn't really work too hard into keeping that as a swing to work towards. So to help him get that rotation, I had him feel like his right shoulder goes down and around as he looped things back. And again, like his right shoulder will never be truly down and around in front of his lower body, but as a feel to help him rotate more, I had him feel down and around with his right shoulder. So pretty good swing. So what Matt and I, when we agreed on kind of entering phase 2 of this evolution and this work, is it was July 27th after we played around. I think we just really decided to for the long-term betterment of his swing and just to play continuously stress-free golf with less variables. We were gonna really work on the flat right wrist with shallowing earlier in transition to help him keep rotating. So we grinded this out on the range here. We had him feel a flat right wrist, which makes the club face look a little bit more closed, which I'm okay with because it's going to open up a little bit in the downswing because he's shallowing so much. So good backswing, and you can see his shaft shallows out hardcore here in transition, which I love as he squats and rotates. And he's way more rotated through the ball compared to the old swings. So this was actually done at a decent speed. It wasn't full speed, but it was pretty good. And you can see the pacing and how he collects himself to the top now is quite different. So I really, really like that. And then he sent me a video just the other day of him practicing, just actually yesterday, and actually looks quite good. So you guys are gonna see things very, very differently now, where Matt, even though we're seeing less shaft, it's not because he's hinging more, but because he's rotating his arms a little bit more. So we're kind of going, you can see on the swing on the left, we're feeling no face rotation. So his right forearm hasn't rotated counterclockwise too much, which helps him get the shaft steeper. And then we let the right forearm rotate and roll at the very end, which is what I kind of want, which helps him lead into the shallow. And you can see on this one, he doesn't exaggerate the close face as much, but this was done at full speed. So you can see timing at the top looks way different. He looks a little bit more pausey at the top, which is nice. And I really like at the top now, he's not relying on the hinge to get closer to parallel to the ground. He's letting the right forearm roll and letting his arms rotate a little bit differently. So it's pretty good there. Right wrist is pretty flat there. So we're going to keep grinding on, like here, because he rolls his right arm a little bit more than I would like. So we're going to keep working on that. But honestly, for a swing that he did practicing on his own, it's actually quite good. And you can see when he comes down, a little bit of a downwards with the leg, which I like. Shaft is shallowing out nicely, and then he hits a pretty good shot. So swing on the left, again, that's kind of the model, the drill swing we're working towards. No roll of the forearm, and let it roll towards the end, which will help with shallow. And then the swing on the right is kind of what he's playing with now, which looks pretty good. So that's kind of a, like a 30-minute recap of what Matt and I have done in the last year. And these two videos are kind of what we're going to do with entering phase 2 of what I guess we have planned for his swing for the future. So it's exciting. It's going to make it better. It's going to make it more stress free. I mean, he already hits it really, really good, as we all know. But just trying to make it better, especially for the course play, because the course play is always a little bit different than hitting balls at TXG when in a controlled environment. So just trying to allow him to make things a little bit easier for himself. So hope you guys enjoyed that. I know this is a lot of talking on my part. First time doing this, so any questions, any feedback, just let me know, and I'll try my best to make these better for the future. So any questions, just let me know, and thanks for watching, guys. We'll talk to you soon.